First up at number 10, Kate Moss lie. One of the most talked about things to come out of Amber Heard's testimony was her assertion that Johnny Depp had gotten physical with his past girlfriend, Kate Moss. While Heard was talking about an altercation between Depp and her sister Whitney, Heard said that she recalled a rumor that Depp pushed Moss down the stairs, and that's when she sprung into action to defend her sister. After Amber brought this to light, Depp's lawyers decided to bring Moss in for questioning. Depp's lawyer asked if Moss was ever pushed down the stairs by Johnny, and she denied it. She stated that at one point during their trip it was very rainy, and she ended up slipping and falling down a flight of stairs at the hotel. Once this happened, she called out for help, and Johnny came running to pick her up and do whatever she needed. When the lawyer asked if Depp had ever gotten physical with her at any time, Moss continued that he never, quote, pushed me, kicked me, or threw me down any stairs. And at number 9, ACLU donation lie. One of the worst cases of Amber Heard lying on the stand is in regards to her donation to the ACLU, since it's so easy to get to the truth. During her divorce proceedings, Amber went on record stating that she would donate the proceeds from her divorce to Children's Hospital of LA and the ACLU within 10 years, claiming at the time she did not care about the money, rather she just wanted justice for what she had gone through. However, Depp's team brought to light that Amber never donated the money that she pledged she would. In court, an ACLU executive stated that they did not get anywhere close to the $3.5 million that she claimed. Terrence Doherty said the nonprofit received 4 donations in Amber's name so far, totaling only $1.3 million, and only $350,000 of that came from her directly. The remainder and largest portion of the money came from Elon Musk, her former boyfriend. Amber also took credit for a $100,000 donation made by Johnny Depp, go figure. And at number 8, leaked phone call. Probably the biggest bombshell over the course of the divorce were these leaked phone calls between Johnny and Amber, and of course these calls were brought to light once again during the recent trial. In these phone calls, Amber admitted to hitting Depp. In the call, Heard said, quote, I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. I was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. Adding, quote, I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you. Depp then replied, I left last night. Honestly, I swear to you because I just couldn't take the idea of more physicality, more physical harm on one another. Heard finished off saying, quote, I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, I effing sometimes get so mad I lose it. So in this call, Amber not only admits to harming Johnny Depp, but she also tries to shame him and tell him that she didn't even hit him that hard. And at number 7, pooped in their bed. This one is straight up disgusting. But the couple's housekeeper exposed that Amber Heard pooped in their bed while Heard was in But the couple's housekeeper exposed that Amber Heard pooped in their bed while the couple was married. Housekeeper Hilda Vargas said in a written statement that she found the feces and knew they were human. Vargas added that after she told this to Johnny, Amber Heard approached her and told her the photos had destroyed her marriage. The housekeeper said she apologized to Amber, adding, quote, I was very nervous and so I apologized, even though I did not believe that their marital problems were my fault or that I had done anything wrong. And she finished off saying, quote, she has a bad temper in my opinion, and I did not want her to yell at me. Depp stated in court that Amber tried to blame it on their dogs, but he is convinced it came from Amber or one of her friends. And at number 6, forced assistant to lie. In their divorce trial, Johnny Depp's former estate manager has testified that he lied under oath because Amber Heard forced him to do so, or she threatened he would lose his job. This was after Amber was charged with bringing her dogs to Australia illegally and not abiding by the country's restrictions on animal travel. Kevin Murphy, the estate manager, said during the trial, quote, Amber wanted me to say essentially that it was my fault in one way or another that the paperwork wasn't completed, so that I could take the blame for her. Murphy's statement claimed that Heard said to him, quote, I want your help on this. I wouldn't want you to have a problem with your job. After being pressured into it, Murphy decided to lie under oath to not get in trouble with Amber. Because of this shocking revelation, Heard was investigated for perjury by Australian officials. Halfway number 5, inconsistencies in her story. Since the internet is clearly on Depp's side in regards to the trial, after Amber Heard took the stand to testify, the internet immediately started dissecting her testimony. Viral TikToks even show people acting out her retelling of events, and it makes literally no sense. In one TikTok, the audio hears Amber claiming she was sitting on the edge of a couch. Then she says how she was on the floor looking at how dirty the rug is. Painted the picture that her version of events makes no sense. A tweet breaking down another event said, quote, I walked out of the bedroom and he slapped me in the face. I turned around to face him and said, Johnny, you just hit me. The user pointed out that you cannot be slapped by someone and then turn around to face them. And at number 4, Heard copying Depp's outfits. This is one of the many bizarre things that Amber Heard has done in court that has left everyone scratching their heads. After many days of Amber showing up to court wearing almost the same thing that Johnny had worn the previous day, it became clear to viewers that she was copying his outfits. Some experts even claim this might have been done as an intimidation tactic. Dr. Shannon Curry took to the witness stand and testified that she diagnosed Amber Heard with 2 personality disorders. Dr. Curry claimed that Amber's disorder may cause her to, quote, take on the identity of the people they are spending time with because it's comforting. Many fans on Twitter pointed out the strange coincidence, noticing how Heard will copy the color and style of whatever Depp wears the next day. And at number 3, Milani Cosmetics contradicts Amber. During the trial, Amber's lawyer stated that Amber would walk around with makeup constantly in her purse in case she ever needed to cover up a bruise that Johnny had given her. In court, the lawyer held up Milani Cosmetics' all-in-one correcting kit while telling the jury how Heard concealed alleged bruises on her face. During the trial, her lawyer held up the makeup and said, quote, this is what Amber carried in her purse for the entire relationship with Johnny Depp. She's an actor. Do you honestly think she would have left her apartment without makeup? Do you think she would ever have wanted other people to see her bruises and cuts? This is what she used. She became very adept to it. Milani then clapped back in a TikTok video showing that the product held up in court was not released until 2017, 1 year after Heard filed for divorce. So there's no way that Heard could have been covering bruises with that specific makeup. A source close to Heard told People, quote, Heard's lawyer was using an example of the kind of makeup that she used. And at number 2, stolen story. One of the biggest bombshell allegations against Amber in the course of her divorce has been the accusation that she stole her assault story from her assistant. And she played the story off as her own so she could exploit it for financial gain in the divorce. Heard's former personal assistant testified to the UK High Court that her assault story was used by Amber in Amber's depositions against Depp. The assistant, named Kate James, testified that she told Amber the story in confidence of a horrible incident that happened to her in Brazil that traumatized her. Kate James said on the record, quote, Amber referred directly to a violent incident that occurred to me 26 years ago, and she twisted it into her own story and she used it for her own use. Adding, this of course caused me extreme distress and outrage that she would dare to attempt to use the most harrowing experience in my life as her own narrative. And finally, at number 1, Johnny's kids hated her. Throughout the trial, it became clear that Depp's kids with ex-partner Vanessa Paradis did not approve of his relationship with Amber. It was even exposed that Lily Rose did not attend his father's wedding to Amber in 2015. In court, Johnny said, quote, my daughter Lily Rose did not come to the wedding. She and Miss Heard were not on particularly great terms for several reasons. Johnny Depp also claimed in court that Amber tried to drive a wedge between him and his kids. When talking about how possessive Amber was, Depp said, quote, Amber had to have me there at all times for her own needs, also alleging she would tell me what a bad father I was and that I had no idea how to parent. When asked in court if Heard had any relationship with Johnny's kids, Depp responded, quote, it didn't exist. My children are much smarter than me. They refuse to be around her. In at number 8, Tyra Banks. These two are both known divas, so obviously putting them together for a show was bound to be a disaster. They were actually picked to host a daytime talk show called The Fab Life, starring Chrissy and Tyra. But shortly after it started, there were already rumors that the two were feuding. Only 3 months after the show began, Tyra decided to leave. The show got canceled 2 months after that. Tyra didn't talk about why she left, but everyone was pretty sure it was because of Chrissy. A source told Page 6 at the time, quote, you never put 2 supermodels on the same show together, especially when one's more than 10 years younger than the other. After these comments were made, both models denied that there was any bad blood. However, Tyra took a shady dig when she said that she, quote, doesn't beef with people I hire. And at number 7, Katie Cassidy. Some people might find Chrissy's feud with actress Katie Cassidy somewhat noble because Chrissy was attempting to defend a friend, but it also shows how often she gets involved in things that have nothing to do with her. This feud started when Cassidy tweeted that she didn't like how journalist Erin Andrews was doing her job. Chrissy then got involved to defend her friend Erin. Chrissy tweeted at Katie, quote, job now. The work a person does regularly to make money. Alt, what Erin Andrews has. Second alt, what you don't have. Bye. But Katie clapped back, writing, quote, just to be clear, your profile reads, quote, gold digger and stuff. You're asking me if I have a job? I'll send you a book. The fight continued to get pretty heated between the women, but eventually it died down. In at number 6, Mohr. This feud was so uncalled for, and it's just more proof that Chrissy is a bully for literally no reason. This was actually one of her first public feuds back in 2011. At the time, Jay just had a son, and Chrissy reacted to the news of the name by tweeting out, quote, Nikki Cox and Jay Mohr named their son Meredith. Their son, Meredith. Meredith is their son's name. The name of their son is Meredith. And of course, after comments like that, Jay clapped back. He replied, quote, why are you even near me? Take your somewhere where guys like 6s in bikinis. Matt Leinart wouldn't sleep with you. Chrissy replied, quote, what do you count as making fun of your son's name? Saying it's feminine? It is, big deal. This feud dragged on for hours, with Jay bringing his wife, Nikki Cox, into the mix by saying Chrissy's husband, John Legend, used to text Nikki and give her free tickets. But Jay actually won this fight, and the feud ended with Chrissy tweeting that she had no comeback, which I'm sure is pretty rare for her. Halfway at number 5, VH1. This one's a bit random, but a few years ago, Chrissy publicly feuded with network VH1 after they made an op-ed on her where they called her a hypocrite. And even though that's honestly nothing compared to what Chrissy has said about other people over the years, Chrissy lost it. She tweeted out, quote, defending myself as being a hypocrite, I have never once randomly sought out someone to attack. Which is literally the biggest lie I have ever heard. She randomly attacked basically every single person on this list. Chrissy then finished off, quote, why don't you stop policing people's emotions and learn what a hypocrite is? Even though the network really didn't do anything wrong, Chrissy won that battle because the network decided to remove the article. In at number 4, Sharon Osbourne. I'm not shocked at all that these two got into a fight. This all went down in 2019. After John Legend changed the lyrics of Baby It's Cold Outside to be more modern, Sharon shared her negative opinion. Sharon said on the talk, quote, it's a piece of art, and the thing is to change an innocent lyric to what it is. Your mind and your body? What the hell are you on? That's ridiculous. Sharon went on to say that she likes John and means no disrespect. She just didn't agree with the artistic choice. Chrissy decided to defend her husband and tweeted, quote, Sharon's always gotta have something to say. I remember those days of getting to talk crap for money. It was very fun. Sharon then clapped back at Chrissy, saying she's a has-been that married into fame. And at number 3, Lindsay Lohan. A frequent target of Chrissy's over the years has been Lindsay Lohan. In 2011, Teigen tweeted out, quote, Lindsay adds a few more to her wrist when she sees Emma Stone. I have literally no idea what that's even referencing, but that's absolutely disgusting. Later that year, Chrissy had a court date and she was tweeting about it. One tweet said, quote, I cannot wait to show up in court with John to fight this. At Lindsay Lohan, what should I wear? You're the expert. Help. Obviously making fun of Lindsay's struggles with the law. Lindsay's mother recently decided to comment on these nasty tweets made by Chrissy. She told Fox News, quote, as a single mother of 4 children, I raised them to be kind, humble, and non-judgmental. That being said, I will not judge her words towards others, but I stand firm in one looking into oneself and continuing to learn and grow. Hashtag own you. And at number 2, Mariah Carey. The last person that anyone should ever want to get in a feud with is Mariah Carey. But Chrissy clearly has no boundaries in her mockery. In 2010, when it was announced that Mariah Carey was pregnant with her twins, Monroe and Moroccan, Chrissy decided to make fun of her weight. She tweeted, quote, why is everyone surprised Mariah is having twins? I was always pretty positive there was 2 to 15 babies growing inside of her. And obviously it's never okay to body shame anyone ever, but body shaming a pregnant person is just a whole other level of just disgusting, nasty troll. In at number 10, Larsa Pippen. Larsa Pippen is a former friend of the Kardashian clan, but after she left, she revealed a shady secret about Khloe. During an interview with the Hollywood Raw podcast, Pippen said that she dated Tristan Thompson right before he started dating Khloe, saying, quote, I was kind of seeing Tristan before Khloe or any of them knew he existed. I was seeing him. I had him come to LA. I brought him to a party Kim had. I introduced him to all of them. And then apparently without saying a word to Larsa, Khloe and Tristan started their relationship. Larsa seemed to be a good sport about things, but that's definitely a violation of girl code and shows that Khloe isn't loyal when she's interested in someone's man. And at number 9, Grace Moretz. During Kim and Kanye's feud with Taylor Swift, Grace Moretz got involved, and Khloe took a nasty low blow. After Kim released a video on Snapchat of Kanye West discussing his famous song with Taylor, Grace Moretz tweeted to defend Swift from the accusation that she lied about not knowing about the song before it was released. Moretz said, quote, stop wasting your voice on something so petulant and unimportant. Everyone in this industry needs to get their heads out of a hole and look around to realize what's actually happening in the real world. Then Khloe Kardashian jumped in to defend her sister, tweeting back, quote, is this the hole you're referring to, Grace Moretz? Adding a picture that seemingly showed Moretz's bare butthole. Moretz clapped back that the girl in the photo was not her, and tons of celebrities came to Moretz's defense against the nasty clapback. And at number 8, Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose was one of the celebrities that jumped in to defend Grace Moretz in her exchange with Khloe Kardashian. After the photo was tweeted out, Ruby Rose tweeted, quote, "Yo Khloe, I thought you were rad when I met you, but this is awful, and this is a 19-year-old girl. Nobody likes being bullied or made to feel worthless, yet so many people will go above and beyond to make others feel that way." Khloe defended her actions, responding back, quote, "I'm the last person to bully, but have an animal instinct to protect and defend my family. Refrain from commenting on my family and our business, and I'll do the same." So clearly Khloe did not regret posting that video whatsoever, and when Ruby kindly called out the action, Khloe somewhat threatened Ruby Rose. In at number 7, Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers makes her living by poking fun at celebrities, but when she did this to Kim Kardashian, Khloe was not happy about it. The feud between them started when Joan parodies Kim's infamous adult tape with Ray J by taking a photo in bed with Ray J, obviously to mock their tape. But Khloe pulled some punches of her own to ensure that Joan did not get away scot-free. Apparently, Khloe was set to co-host Joan's show Fashion Police, but she decided to pull out at the very last second, leaving producers scrambling to find a replacement last minute. And honestly, I thought at this point Kim would be able to take a joke about that event. I mean, it literally made her entire family famous. Like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal to make fun of. In at number 6, Adrienne Bailon. Adrienne Bailon dated Rob Kardashian in the beginning of their show, but they ended up breaking up because Rob cheated on her. However, it seemed that Adrienne had a good relationship with the sisters after the fact, but we learned later on that that actually wasn't the case. And Adrienne has had a rocky relationship with the Kardashians post-breakup. A feud ignited when Adrienne was on the cover of Latina magazine, and in the interview she said her decision to appear on Keeping Up was not a good one and actually hurt her career. Many of the Kardashians responded to this on Twitter, including Khloe, who said, quote, "Don't kick my brother while he's down. Thought her and I were cool, shake my head." Another negative moment between them was actually captured on the show, and Adrienne's family was going camping with the Kardashians. And even though Adrienne's family is very conservative, Khloe kept swearing and talking about sex while around her parents, which made Adrienne's family very uncomfortable. Halfway at number 5, Amy Schumer. While hosting Saturday Night Live, Amy Schumer took a dig at Khloe Kardashian, and Khloe clapped back. When talking about Khloe's weight loss, Schumer said, quote, "We used to have Khloe. Khloe was ours, right? Whenever there's a group of women, you identify with one of them, right? Khloe, she lost half her body weight. She lost to Kendall, and we have nothing." And obviously this was somewhat of a backhanded compliment, saying that Khloe was relatable because she didn't look as fit as her other sisters before her transformation. But I don't think that Amy actually meant it in a bad way. Khloe responded to the joke saying, quote, "No need to tear down others just to make yourself feel bigger. It actually makes you quite small. I'm on a healthy journey. I don't care for the hate." With Amy responding back, quote, "Nothing but love for that family. I like the idea of sending women the message to be happy in their own skin. Hashtag peace." So it seems Amy's message here was body positivity. In at number 4, Ronnie Magro. The Jersey Shore star had a bad interaction with Khloe Kardashian. This was because at one point Ronnie was actually dating Khloe's BFF, Malika Hack, and Khloe seemed to get jealous about how much time they were spending together. Side note, I had no idea that Ronnie and Malika dated. That is like the weirdest couple ever. But anyways, when speaking about the fact that her and Malika weren't hanging out as much, Khloe took a major dig at Ronnie, saying, quote, "Maybe she's embarrassed that she's dating Ronnie from Jersey Shore, 'cause I would be." Yikes, that's a really shady thing to say about your best friend. And the fact that she's trashing Ronnie when she's also a reality TV star and has done questionable things on camera is just really shady all around. In at number 3, Jordyn Woods. A lot of people believe that Khloe's scandal with Jordyn Woods exposed a nasty side of her. For a refresh on everything, Jordyn and Tristan Thompson, who was Khloe's baby daddy, had some sort of intimate contact, either a kiss or more. But what complicated things more was that Jordyn was best friends with Kylie, Khloe's younger sister. After the news came out, the entire family trashed on Jordyn publicly, while Jordyn stayed quiet. It also seemed like the family forgave Tristan rather quickly, while Kylie was almost forced to end her friendship with Jordyn. Jordyn ended up going on Red Table Talk to discuss her side of things. And after that interview, Khloe went on the defense and started tweeting more things against Jordyn. One shady tweet said, quote, "Why are you lying, Jordyn Woods? If you're going to try and save yourself by going public instead of calling me privately to apologize first, at least be honest about your story. By the way, you are the reason my family broke up." And of course no one's defending Jordyn's actions here, but it takes two to tango. and Tristan has a long history of cheating on Khloe and disrespecting her publicly. So many felt it was wrong for her to almost take it out entirely on Jordyn. We can probably all agree that Tristan is most likely the one who initiated things. In at number 2, Nicole Polizzi. It seems that Khloe has a vendetta against Jersey Shore because Nicole Polizzi, aka Snooki, spoke about how she had a terrible experience when she met Khloe. Nicole was a guest on Cocktails with Khloe, and when talking about their first interaction, Polizzi flat out said that Khloe insulted her. She claimed that Kim Kardashian invited her over to the family's home, saying, quote, Kim tapped you on the shoulder, she goes, Khloe, look who's here. And you looked me up and down and said, I swear to God, I'm not lying, and you go, what the F is she doing here? Are you kidding me, Kim? Khloe says she doesn't remember insulting Nicole like that, but Nicole has really no reason to lie about something like that, so I'm definitely believing Nicole on this one. And if that's true, that is just really disgusting. That is so mean. In at number 1, Jameela Jamil. Jameela Jamil spoke up about the recent Khloe Kardashian Photoshop scandal on her Instagram, and she didn't hold back with her criticism against Khloe. Jamil said that Khloe's bikini scandal has been very damaging, saying, quote, they played their fans, but they played themselves worse, and everybody loses. Adding the diet culture is the real enemy. Saying later in the caption, quote, even though I remain furious at how much this family perpetuates fat phobia and impossible beauty standards, I totally see why they're so obsessed with presenting as whatever society's latest ideal of perfect is, because they were harassed and bullied and scrutinized to within an inch of their lives. So it seems that Jamil has empathy for what Khloe has gone through, but she understands Khloe and her family are a big reason that these beauty standards have been upheld in our society today.
Number 10, blood rituals. In an interview earlier this year with Glamour, Megan confirmed that the two of them engage in blood play. She said, so I guess to drink each other's blood might mislead people, or people are imagining us with goblets and we're like Game of Thrones, drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops, but yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion, for ritual purposes only. She went on to say that these rituals may depend on the lunar cycle, saying, so when I do it, it's a passage, or it's used for a reason, and it's controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. But when it comes to MGK, she says he's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just cut his chest open with a broken glass and be like, take my soul. At first you think, well that's fine, I mean every couple has to have their own kinks, but maybe these two have been watching too much Twilight. This whole thing is a little too satanic for me. Number 9, that GQ interview. The couple opened up about their relationship to the magazine, hoping to paint themselves once again as a kind of Romeo and Juliet couple, but instead the internet started clowning on them. The article is titled True Romance, Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly are Hollywood's hottest new power couple, and here are some of the quotes. MGK said, even our first kiss, she wouldn't kiss me. We just put our lips right in front of each other and breathed each other. We just put our lips right in front of each other and breathed each other's breath, and then she just left. Megan then spoke about their chemistry and said, it's ecstasy and agony for sure. I don't want people to think anything's perfect with us. I didn't say it was the darkest fairy tale for no reason. There's also the demonic side. Yes, there is certainly something demonic going on. Many internet users have since joked that their relationship is reminiscent of a really bad fan fiction, with one viral meme that says, just saw Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox in public, luckily grabbed a couple pics, and it shows two teens dramatically embracing. Number 8, the Thorn ring. When MGK was asked about their engagement, he proudly told Vogue about what kind of engagement ring he had gifted his wife. As you would have expected, there's something incredibly sadistic about it. He claimed that the teardrop emerald ring he proposed to Megan with was designed to inflict pain on her if she were to ever take it off. He said, it's a thoroughbred Colombian emerald with no treatment. It was just carved into the teardrop straight out of the mine. The concept is that the ring can come apart and make two rings. When it's together, it's held in place by a magnet. The bands are actually thorns, so if she tries to take it off, it hurts. The interviewer then questioned the choice of the ring, and MGK just said, love is pain. So what does that tell you? Wanting to inflict pain on your partner when they choose to leave you is a textbook toxic relationship. But hey, I'm sure it's a pretty ring. Number 7, calling him daddy. Megan set the incident into a collective frenzy during the 2021 MTV Video Music Awards while presenting alongside Kourtney Kardashian. Both women introduced introduced their respective boyfriends, Machine Gun Kelly and Travis Barker, ahead of their performance. And the moment is still living rent-free in my head to this day. Megan said, "I'm a huge fan of this next performer. I've watched him grow, not just as an artist, but as a person. New York, I need you to get extra loud for our future baby daddies." Throughout the evening, Megan constantly refers to MGK as daddy. The 36-year-old Transformers star walked the red carpet in a barely there, completely sheer dress with an embellished G-string underneath. She then revealed to Entertainment Tonight during an interview that her fiance was behind the whole thing. Quote, "He was like, 'You're gonna get naked tonight.' I was like, 'Whatever you say, daddy, whatever daddy says.'" Then later she posted a photo from that night on Instagram with the caption, "Daddy's gonna win a VMA." I mean, at this point it's just too much. Number 6, comments about Halsey. One of the biggest red flags about a guy is the way he speaks about his ex-girlfriends. The rapper was briefly involved with the singer Halsey in 2017 before they parted ways. Even though the breakup seemed amicable, MGK chose to publicly embarrass her on a radio show. He went on the Breakfast Club radio show for an interview that was hosted by DJ Envy, Angela Lee, and Charlemagne the God. He was asked if he and Halsey ever dated, to which he said no, but then Charlemagne asked him if they had ever smashed, and he just smirked and he said yes. Now most decent people would respond to that question by simply declining to answer, but the way he said it was incredibly disrespectful. So what was Halsey's response to this mess? Well, she just tweeted, "How absolutely pathetic." To make matters worse, she was dating G-Eazy at the time, and MGK dropped a diss track rubbing it in, with lyrics saying that he effed his girl and accusing G-Eazy of copying his style by bleaching his hair blonde and wearing an earring, which is just trash behavior all round. Number 5, the Halloween costume. The couple were recently accused of disrespecting the Catholic Church after they dressed up in a fetishized version of religious costumes for Halloween this year. MGK dressed as a priest and Megan wore latex lingerie with thigh-high boots. In photos posted online, they are both seen clutching rosary beads, and a video shows the rapper feeding her communion while she crouches down on her knees in an explicit pose. To make matters worse, Megan captioned the photo saying, "On Sundays we take communion." MGK also shared the video to his Instagram stories writing, "God bless you." The comment section of course was flooded with criticism of their antics, with one follower writing, "I'm not Catholic but this is so wrong in so many ways." With one user writing, "I'm not Catholic but this is so wrong and in many ways making fun of religion. Respect requires respect, so you guys lost mine." Another user wrote, "This is just distasteful and I'm an atheist." While there's a good argument that religion is fair game when it comes to Halloween costumes, these guys found a way to just take it way too far. Number 4, that Instagram post. These two are not only known for their over-the-top PDA, but also their cringy Instagram posts. In fact, their social media presence as a couple is so intense that people have said they give off a high school band kids after 1 week of dating vibe. So if you're feeling a little confused, let me show you one of the Instagram posts that Megan made. When she posted a photo of the two of them, she made the caption, "The tale of two outcasts and star-crossed lovers caught in the throes of a torrid solar flare of a romance, featuring feverish obsession, addiction, shamans, lots of blood, general mayhem, therapy, tantric night terrors, binding rituals, chakra sound baths, psychedelic hallucinations, organic smoothies, and the kind of sex that would make Lucifer clutch his rosary." A lot of their social media posts read like poorly written fan fiction. As a result, there's a running joke that they remind people of the Joker and Harley Quinn meme that says, "She was fearless and crazier than him. She was his queen, and God help anyone who dared disrespect his queen." Number 3, dodging his kiss. There's bound to be moments of tension between every couple, but the video that was captured of Megan and MGK made people think they were actually going to break up. They're usually the king and queen of gross PDA, but during a red carpet appearance in April, the actress can be seen awkwardly avoiding a kiss from her fiance. The viral footage shows an uninterested Megan appearing to physically dodge a kiss from him. MGK laughed awkwardly at the rejection when he realized the cameras were on him. Megan then glared at him and made it apparent that he did something wrong. Around the same time, there was also an awkward video going around with the couple sitting alongside their cast members from the comedy movie called Good Morning. Fans couldn't help but notice that it was another moment when Megan just looked unhappy, especially because MGK was busy laughing with former Disney actress Dove Cameron. Number 2, blood necklace. MGK took his song Bloody Valentine to a whole new level in February when he revealed that Megan had gifted him a drop of her blood to wear around his neck. He went on the Ellen DeGeneres show and said, "Well, she was actually going out of town to film a movie. This was really new in our relationship. I didn't have a passport either. So she was going out to Bulgaria, so I was kind of freaking out, like, you're gonna leave me and I can't even come and see you. Some people give like a handkerchief to their partner or whatever. She gave me her DNA. So apparently because they didn't want to have to stress about spending time apart, she gave him an actual bit of her blood to carry around. Again, I don't know what it is with these two and blood, but as crazy as it sounds, they're not actually the first celebrity couple to do this. Back when Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton were married, they also wore necklaces with vials of each other's blood. So maybe it is romantic. Number 1, always starting fight. The rapper got into an altercation with UFC star Conor McGregor that was seemingly unprovoked. The story goes that they were both on the MTV Music Video Awards red carpet when things escalated very quickly. In video footage of the incident, McGregor could be seen lunging at Kelly, who was held back by both security and Megan Fox. Seconds later, the fighter was escorted away, but not before he threw a cocktail in his direction. According to TMZ, McGregor walked up just to say hello when Kelly said something inaudible and pushed him, spilling one of his drinks in the process. Then MGK security attempted to push him away, and that's when the fight broke out. The UFC star later said, "I only fight real fighters, people that actually fight. I certainly don't fight little vanilla ice white rappers. I don't even know the guy. I don't know anything about him except that he's with Megan Fox." It's pretty obvious who started the fight in this scenario, and time again we are reminded of just how immature MGK can be. Number 10, bad at comedy. A wise person on Twitter said, "James Corden might be a lot of things, but I draw the line at him being labeled a comedian. Aside from the fact that he's just straight up not funny, he seems to have an awful habit of failing to read the room and noticing when his poor jokes fall flat." Fans remember when he completely bombed at an AIDS research benefit gig in LA in 2017. In an effort to appear edgy, he brought up the Weinstein scandal that had just come out that very same week. In videos of the event, James said that it was a beautiful night in LA. So beautiful, Harvey has already asked tonight up to his hotel to give him a massage. He ignores the loud groans from the audience and then says, "It has been weird this week, hasn't it? Watching Harvey in hot water. Ask any of the women who watched him take a bath." The backlash against him was huge, and rightfully so. If you're going to make offensive jokes, you have to at least be funny. Number 9, ruining movies. James Corden's acting career started out well enough, but things went downhill fast as his fame grew. It's well known that he pretty much accepts every work offer that comes his way without much consideration, resulting in multiple flops. These included some truly awful movies like Cinderella, Lesbian Vampire Slayers, and The Emoji Movie. He also came under fire for exploiting gay stereotypes with his character in The Prom. But his most cringeworthy performance ever was in the movie Cats, where he played a creepy humanoid cat called Buster Jones. The CGI human cats were literally sickening to look at and have been the subject of my nightmares for too long. The movie was a critically savage box office disaster. Despite James saying that he didn't regret his involvement, he later admitted that he would never ever watch the film himself. In fact, people are so sick of seeing him on the big screen and ruining every musical he touches that there is now a viral petition to keep James Corden out of the new Wicked movie. So far, it has more than 100,000 signatures. Number 8, rude to waiters. On Monday, the owner of a high-end New York City restaurant called Balthazar made a viral Instagram post blasting James Corden for his horrible behavior towards staff. He called him a tiny cretin of a man and the worst customer to his servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago. He claimed that in one instance, James demanded 2 free rounds of drinks for him and his friends after he presented a hair that was found on his food and said, "Get us another round of drinks this second. And also take care of all our drinks so far. This way I won't write any nasty reviews on Yelp." On another occasion, he is said to have flipped out when an egg yolk omelette his wife ordered was found to have very little egg white in it. He allegedly went ballistic and started tearing into the waiter, saying, "Maybe I should go into the kitchen and cook the omelette myself." According to the owner, James was so awful that he felt compelled to out him publicly and ban him from the restaurant, something that is very rarely done in high-end establishments. Number 7, fight with Patrick Stewart. A clip from the 2010 Glamour Awards resurfaced recently where Patrick Stewart obliterates James Corden on stage, and it's the definition of public humiliation. They were presenting an award together when Stewart suddenly decided to call him out for his disinterested attitude towards the ceremony. He said, "When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here." Corden was super caught off guard at first, and so was everyone else in the audience. He was obviously embarrassed and shot back with, "If I looked like that, I'm sorry, but when you come up and present an award, just effing get on with it." Both of them should have moved on from there, but it somehow got even cringier when Stewart decided to make fun of Corden Corden's weight. He said, "From where I was sitting, I can see your belly, and that was over at the back of the room." I continued back and forth for a few minutes, but it was so uncomfortable to watch, it felt more like hours. Loving this video so far? Please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 6, exposed on Reddit. In 2019, James wanted to surprise fans by making an appearance on Reddit's infamous Ask Me Anything thread to promote a special edition of the show. But the plan massively backfired when users started flooding the thread talking about the horrible experiences they've had meeting him in real life. In the end, James was only able to answer 3 questions before he dipped. Probably because the truth was coming out about him and he was getting brutally roasted. One viral post said, "Hey James, you won't remember me, but me and my friends sat at a table next to you and Harry Styles, and some others in Manchurian Legends in London's Chinatown about 6 years ago. We didn't bother you, but you were a massively entitled C-word who yelled and treated the waitstaff like crap, and when one of my party politely suggested that you calm down, you got really aggressive and threatening. So my question is, why did Harry seem so cool while you were a massive throbbing bellend?" Number 5, flight incident. This one absolutely boils my blood. We're going to talk about the infamous Reddit post that horrified the internet. Half an hour into a New York to London flight, passengers in business class noticed a woman with a crying baby being brought through the curtains by a flight attendant. They looked on in mild horror as they saw the attendant direct her into an empty seat next to James Corden. They were expecting him to throw a fit, but instead he simply put on a pair of noise-cancelling headphones, pulled an eye mask over his eyes, and turned away from her to sleep. Pretty decent of him, right? When the plane landed, passengers were surprised to see him remain seated as the woman with the baby struggled to open the overhead locker, and even more surprised when she turned to him and said, "For F's sake, can you at least hold the baby while I get the bags?" The woman was his wife. The baby was his baby. That's the father of the year right there. Number 4, fake persona. While Corden's public image is of a lovable Brit, his behavior in private has been described by some as less than desirable, and that is an understatement. For many people, the nice guy public persona has worn thin, and there are too many cases where the mask has slipped, revealing a more arrogant and spiteful side to him. Corden increasingly gained a reputation, all for behaving badly towards the people who work for him and with him. One allegation by comedian and podcaster Jack Allison was that he attended a Writers Guild Association meeting specifically to advocate for lowering the pay of his late-night writers. How disgusting is that? He was also allegedly extremely rude to production assistants and staff while filming the UK game show A League of Their Own. To sum it all up, the editor-in-chief of Hard Drive magazine, Jeremy Kalpowitz, tweeted, "James Corden is the most worked with the robots to betray the humans and get put back into the Matrix as a famous actor person who has ever existed." Number 3, pretend driving. Carpool karaoke was one of the most popular segments on The Late Show, but on the 2nd of January in 2020, fans spotted Corden filming a new episode with Justin Bieber and shared the video to Twitter. Rather than being on the road, the black SUV was being towed by a tow truck, and Corden was pretending to drive it. The viral video led to mass outrage on social media, with many people criticizing the host for being deceptive and labeling him as an outright phony. He really had no choice but to address the scandal and said, "Fake news, I always drive the car, unless we're doing something where we think it might not be safe." He did admit that the car had been towed on rare occasions, but maintained that 95% of the time he was driving it. The thing is that a lot of people tuned into his show only for carpool karaoke, so the fact that it was staged made the episodes feel artificial and took a lot of the fun out of it. Number 2, doesn't know his own crew. Amidst the growing controversy, other videos exposing James Corden have resurfaced online, and one shows the awkward moment when he was asked to name members of his own TV crew, and he couldn't do it. In the video from 2016, Jimmy Kimmel appeared on The Late Show for a game called Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, a truth or dare game that gives guests the option of eating disgusting foods or answering personal questions. He then tells James, "Name 2 of the cameramen in this room." He started laughing because it was obvious that he didn't know. Then he just said, "That is a great question. It's a different crew tonight actually." In the end, he had to drink a fish smoothie because he couldn't name the crew members. Then, if you think that was a coincidence, 1 year later, during a Q&A segment with his audience, one crowd member asked him to name a cameraman and he failed once again. I mean, this is far from the worst thing that he's ever done, but it does go to show you that he doesn't really care about the people that work underneath him. And coming in at number 1, universally disliked. If you want to know how the majority of people really feel about James Corden, just spend 5 minutes on Twitter. When Ryanair announced on Twitter that they had also banned James from flying with them, the reactions were hilarious. So many memes flooded the platform of people claiming that he had been banned from other random places like the Glee Club or Fortnite. A meme even went viral of Dakota Johnson looking excited, with the caption, "Watching the long-awaited downfall of James Corden." One user wrote, quote, "I don't need James Corden banned from Balthazar, I need him banned from movie musicals." Someone else tweeted, "A reminder that James Corden is an utter prick, an unfunny bellend of a man. There's a reason he's hated in the UK. Here he is being a wanker to Patrick Stewart, who called him out for being unprofessional." Former TMZ journalist Morgan Tremaine said that James Corden is a prime example of fame obliterating someone's sense of basic decency towards other people. Someone even called him the late night version of Ellen, so it's a wonder that he has any fans left at all.
Number 10. Seizing control. As part of a countersuit regarding the dispute surrounding the sale of the winery shares, Angelina Jolie's former company Novell has claimed that Brad Pitt wanted only to control the winery estate, Chateau Miraval, and that is why he is upset about the selling of the shares. In actuality, they claim he only wanted to control the joint financial venture and for years has been pushing them out and wasting assets on lavish projects that they deem completely unnecessary and unrelated to the winery's success, including a swimming pool and a recording studio, which I gotta say, doesn't seem super relevant to making wine, but you know. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you find this whole feud that's been going on for years between Brad and Angelina to be pretty crazy, let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. I think it's pretty crazy. Pretty sad, really. Number 9. Juliette Lewis. While this relationship has been lovingly reminisced on by both Juliette Lewis and Brad Pitt, the fact remains that it's kind of an odd one, even for the time period. The two ended up meeting on the set of California, with both of them being considered young, hopeful talents of Hollywood at the time. They dated for 4 years and seemed to have a great and beautiful romance, and just as Brad Pitt was actually getting ready to blow up, basically. But there was something a little odd about this relationship. When they started seeing each other, there was a 10-year gap between them. Now, this might not seem super strange, considering there have been, you know, bigger age gaps in celebrity couples and in regular couples, and for some, that still seems pretty normal. But the real weird part of it was that they were at two very different sort of points in their life, with Brad being 27 or turning 27 and Juliette only being 17. Yeah, so she was still in high school, which I mean, I guess they could still connect over work, both being performers, but other than that, their life experiences would have been probably pretty different at that point. Some people still find this to be an odd relationship today, especially considering it managed to go strong for 4 years. However, both of them still remember it pretty fondly, although they no longer talk, which I think is pretty weird, but I guess it was a long time ago. Number 8. The divorce. I think one of the biggest red flags that people tend to overlook in cases like this is when things drag on. It's never a good sign, and it can usually mean that there are bigger issues that are kind of being like danced around but not really unearthed or talked about. People who are able to put the past behind them and just move forward generally have nothing to dance around. That's why it's, you know, so easy for them to just move forward with their lives. They have let go and they don't hold things against their former partner. But with Brad and Angelina, both of them seem to be struggling to let go and are still stuck in disagreements with each other even to this day, which could be an indicator that there is a bigger reason as to why they split, other than just deciding to go their own way. And that's what we're beginning to see really delved into now, as Jolie seems to realize that she maybe has to lay it all out or she'll never really be free. That she has to dive into some traumatic moments that she perhaps would have rather been kept a little bit more private and less publicized. There's also the fact that it took them 3 years to get themselves legally declared as single. Just declared as single, which is a long time. A standard divorce, by the way, takes between 4 to 6 months to get finalized, although obviously when there's custody battles and stuff involved, it can take longer. But it's still been a long time, even considering that. Number 7. Addiction. After the split between Brad and Angelina, Pitt cited personal problems as one of the issues for sort of the arguments that led to their divorce. In response, he decided it was time to do something about these problems and admitted himself to AA. This might not be a red flag in the sense that obviously going to AA is a good thing if you have a problem all in all, but it is a red flag that he did so right after the divorce, implying that his misuse had gotten to the point that it was dramatically affecting his life, with the divorce and whatever happened to trigger it kind of acting as a wake-up call for him, which kind of could be an indicator that there's something worse there. At least there was in the past, you know? Number 6. NDA. In the current legal battle between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, the two are now feuding over the winery that they once shared and what Angelina decided to do with said shares. Initially, the two had an agreement that they would get clearance before selling, but when Jolie sold her shares behind Pitt's back, he protested. It was reported that Jolie wanted out of the joint business ventures and that Pitt was willing to buy the shares, but then their deal fell through. And this was apparently after months of them negotiating. Well, Pitt claims this this was so that Jolie could purposefully harm him after he was awarded shared custody of their 6 children. Jolie claims their deal actually fell through because Pitt wanted her to sign an NDA as part of the sale to him. Jolie was unwilling to sign that NDA as she felt this would limit her capacity to speak the truth of why their marriage dissolved and problems surrounding it. She obviously just didn't want to be silenced, if that is the case. While the two have differing stories as to why this deal fell apart, if Jolie is speaking true, why did Brad want to keep her quiet? And what were the terms of the NDA covering? Also, if it was their relationship, how does that relate to selling the winery? That doesn't seem like it should be included at all. Number 5. Harvey Weinstein. Although some say that Brad Pitt was one of the few who stood up to Weinstein, this unfortunately wasn't always the case. When it comes to his relationship with the notorious producer, many tell of the 1995 story where Pitt stood up to him to protect his then-girlfriend Gwyneth Paltrow, who confessed that Weinstein had severely mistreated her, which to be honest is an understatement. However, what those people seem to be missing or not focusing on is the fact that after this incident, although Pitt did stand up to him, he also later worked with him. What? The 2009 film Inglourious Basterds, which Pitt starred in, was both distributed by and co-financed by the Weinstein Company. Angelina Jolie claims that Brad Pitt also approached the producer to work on his 2012 film Killing Them Softly, whose company ended up as the distributor for that film, which really hurt her because she also had a bad experience with him too. So, like, what? It's also pretty messed up, I feel like, if you do that when, you know, your wife is like, please don't work with this person. Number 4, she said. So Brad Pitt is complicated when it comes to his history with Harvey Weinstein. He privately spoke out against him years ago in the 90s when he, actively threatened the man when he put his hands on Paltrow, but then he was willing to work with him in 2009 and the 2010s. In 2019, he spoke out against the man, however, disavowing him and sharing the story of his experience defending Paltrow in the 90s. He also went on to executive produce the film She Said. Some people though deem this to be quite controversial, considering that Brad Pitt also seemed to be willing to work with him only a few years ago, which seems hypocritical. Is it all a show, or does Brad Pitt genuinely condemn this man? She Said is a film that follows the New York Times investigation of Weinstein and is also being produced by Pitt's production company, Plan B Entertainment. Number 3, allegations. Recently, things have escalated quite a bit in the legal cases between Brad and Angelina, with Angelina even bringing up a previous incident that seems to be the inciting one in terms of their divorce. She alleges that Brad severely mistreated her and their children while on a flight, and based on the account given, that's truly an understatement here. It's said that Brad Pitt was under the influence and verbally attacked Angelina before turning on the kids when they came to their mother's defense, even getting physical. She also has attested that she and the kids are willing to provide evidence of this in court, and she's even willing to testify. Number 2, the kids don't want to see him. While Brad Pitt reportedly does see his younger kids but prefers to do so unphotographed, which honestly makes sense. I mean, who wants paparazzi around at all really to photograph anything other than maybe like a movie premiere? That's the only time, I think. It's also reported that he perhaps hasn't seen his older kids in years. In fact, according to a source for US Weekly, Pitt does not have any kind of relationship with his eldest son, Maddox, and doesn't talk to Pax either. In fact, it seems that the inciting incident on the airplane in 2016 is likely where the breakdown of the relationship between son Maddox and father Brad began. The source is saying ever since then, it's been really rough between them. However, according to a source for People, Pitt does still see and maintain a good relationship with his younger children, having nightly dinners with them whenever they are in LA. But it's interesting that his older kids seem to not want to see him, especially as, they're older, so they kind of have more, I guess, more agency in making that choice. Number 1, testimony. Maddox doesn't only not have a good relationship with his father, but reportedly also testified against him during the custody battle. Although we don't know exactly what was said, an exclusive source told US Weekly, Maddox has already given testimony as an adult in the ongoing custody dispute, and it wasn't very flattering towards Brad. It's also been said that the distance is so great that Maddox even wants to legally change his name. The source added he doesn't use Pitt as his last name on documents that aren't legal, and instead uses Jolie. Maddox wants to legally change his last name to Jolie, which Angelina has said she doesn't support. What do you think of the allegations made against Brad Pitt? And turning to hopefully less dramatic thoughts, how are you doing today? Are you having a good day? Are you having a bad day? Let us know in the comments below.
Number 10, old videos. Since the scandal broke, so many people have been searching through videos of Ned and Alex together, together, and the result is very telling. Every single video gets progressively worse when you realize that Ned and Alex had been seeing each other in secret. In fact, most of the content with them together has not aged well at all, because you can clearly see the two of them flirting on camera. There was a video of Ned where he looked genuinely disappointed that Alex didn't pick him to team up with her for a game, and another video where he was in the hot tub laying his head on her lap, while the other guys exchanged uncomfortable glances at each other. Alex clearly didn't seem to mind though, but it was very strange because he was still her boss. One of the comments on the video says, "How was it just normal for a married man to put his head on another woman's thighs and we all ignored it?" In fact, if you go through the past Try Guys' videos, there are just so many clues that Alex was Ned's side piece. It's insane. Talk about foreshadowing. If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9, defending Alex. For some reason, the Try Guys seem to be pretty confident defending the woman who was cheating with Ned. In fact, all of them still follow Alex Herring on social media. In their new video statement, Eugene pleaded with fans to exercise kindness because women tend to get more hate than men on the internet in this kind of situation. He was insinuating that Alex has been receiving a lot of criticism from fans and they need to back off. So even though she cheated on her own fiance Will Thayer and emotionally ruined Ned's wife Ariel, it seems like Alex is walking away from all of this without a scratch. The Try Guys haven't publicly denounced her like they did with their executive producer, and they have made no moves to fire her, although that could be a legal risk for the company because as an employee, she could argue that she was coerced to enter the relationship because of the power that Ned had over her in the workplace. So the situation is certainly complicated. Number 8, they all knew. Despite the fact that they've known each other for years and built a successful brand together, the rest of the Try Guys wasted no time in cutting ties with their friend and released a statement just 2 days after the news broke out. On their official Instagram page, they stated that Ned had been fired. Quote, "Ned Fulmer is no longer working for the Try Guys. As a result of an internal review, we do not see a path forward together. We thank you for your support as we navigate through this change." This action was so swift that it surprised a lot of people. But this is because they actually found out about Ned's affair 4 weeks before they made the announcement. Heath confirmed that the Try Guys were alerted to the scandal on September the 5th, and from there, the company launched a 3-week investigation into his actions. An inside source claimed that during the investigation, it was discovered that the employees knew what was up between Ned and Alex because they noticed flirting, lunchtime hookups, occasional sleepovers, and that the two of them constantly went to events together. Number 7, multiple women. An Instagram page called Mohr has come forward with several blind items that claim that Ned cheated on Ariel with more than one woman, and some of the allegations date back several years. One anonymous user, claiming to be a former BuzzFeed employee, said, "This is not his first rodeo. Trust me, he's always been like this, and I can confirm that someone else might be coming forward because there have been other former BuzzFeed employees and former co-workers from BuzzFeed that know things and have experienced things. There are a lot of things about Ned that will spill in the next few days." Another user recounted her own story involving Ned. She wrote, "Early in 2016, I had just turned 21 and was doing stupid stuff. I sent Ned Fulmer a sexy selfie of me on Snapchat. He responded asking for more, and this went on for a few months. He was coming to Miami with the Try Guys and wanted to meet up one-on-one. I ended up declining. I'm positive this is just the first girl he's been caught with." Number 6, fake personas. The success of the Try Guys' brand really has nothing to do with the content that they put out there. It's more about their performance of authenticity and the promise that the character on screen and the human behind the character are largely the same. This is especially true in their characters as nice guys. Keith even said, quote, "There's always some layer of performance on top of who you are, so the more I've been able to cultivate Keith as a character and have me be the same is great." So in other words, even real life Keith said that he wants to be more like the Keith that's on screen. And because all of the Try Guys are very publicly partnered, that only added to their personas. Ned actually said, "I became kind of known for my own relationship, and then we did more of it. I just kind of do it because digital media and YouTube culture is kind of showing who you are as a person." But in the end, this became the channel's downfall, because when Ned's facade fell away, the fans felt lied to. Number 5, year-long affair. Like a stubborn weed that won't stop sprouting, the Ned Fulmer cheating scandal is blooming at a rapid pace. There is now a claim out there that their workplace relationship actually dates back to December last year. A source close to Will Thayer, Alex's ex-fiance, said that Will went through her phone and saw that her and Ned had first hooked up on a work trip in December. December. Will was able to forgive Alex, but apparently he reached out to Ned, warning him to back off. Then at the start of September, both Will and Ariel received photos and videos of Ned and Alex making out at a club, as well as holding hands in public while they were out in New York City. The timing was incredibly awkward because Ariel had just landed in New York to hang out with the group when she received those messages. She then confronted Ned, who confirmed that he and Alex had been in a relationship for almost a year. Upon finding out, Ariel then hightailed it out of the city and flew back to LA, which makes complete sense because how could she stay there after that? Number 4, sneaking around. Fans started to suspect that Ned was cheating when they noticed that he wasn't involved in the group's videos for the last couple of weeks. In late September, the tweet that prefaced the drama wrote, "Ned has not been present in some of the recent Try Guys' projects. Ned does not appear in the past 3 videos or intros. He also was not in the past 3 podcast episodes." As the main producer and one of the faces of the company, fans found this extremely worrying, and pretty soon it started to look like one of the Try Guys was trying infidelity. So they became more vigilant of his appearances on the channel. It was also very suspicious that Ned and Alex were seen in an Instagram photo promoting Keith's new Eat the Menu series, but they were not seen in the final cut of the video. So Ned had essentially been absent quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. But now we know that the company was most likely investigating him at the time, so he might have even been suspended from the workplace entirely. Number 3, BuzzFeed reaction. They say that no one knows you better than your co-workers, and in Ned's case that might be true as well. Former BuzzFeed alum Devin Lytle tweeted, "2022, the year we realized that wife guys are still guys." Jasmine Robbins posted a cryptic meme with Kermit the Frog and wrote, "Y'all shocked?" So she made it seem like the affair between Ned and Alex was something of an open secret back when they both worked at BuzzFeed. One Twitter user responded by saying, "Makes me feel like Ned had wandering eyes for a long time. Maybe that's why he made the 'I love my wife' thing his thing, to overcompensate. Couples who always flaunt how happy they are and in love they are usually have something to prove. It was right in front of us the whole time, I guess." So it's entirely possible that Ned's on-camera nice guy persona was exactly that, just a persona, and that behind the scenes he has no issues cheating on his wife. Number 2, office hookup. In such a small workplace, a lot of people are wondering how it is that the Try Guys didn't seem to notice the affair, because according to their new video statement, Ned had admitted to them that it had been going on for quite some time. Ned was the executive producer of the Try Guys. The 35-year-old comedian and author founded the group in 2014 while working for BuzzFeed, so he was pretty much at the top of the office pyramid. Alex Herring, on the other hand, worked under Ned as the associate producer, and even though Ned called it a consensual workplace relationship, everyone knows that Alex was his employee. In fact, she's been featured in tons of videos over the years, and casual fans of the channel have gotten to know her pretty well. It's obvious that everyone in the Try Guys' workplace is very close with each other, so a lot of people are scratching their heads at how such a problematic relationship was allowed to flourish unnoticed. And number 1, their audience. If you've watched any of the Try Guys' videos, references to Ned's wife abounded from the very beginning. In fact, just the way he says "my wife" has earned catchphrase status and inspired countless compilation videos, and even official Try Guys merchandise, including a figurine with a plastic Ned that repeats the phrase "my wife" at the press of a button. In general, fans felt that the Try Guys were walking examples of non-toxic masculinity, and so the men were put on a bit of a pedestal. In fact, of the more than 7.5 million subscribers to their channel, the vast majority of the audience is women, nearly 80%. The age demographic is young women in their late teens and early 20s. Having a large female audience is not a red flag, but it goes to show you that there was always a performative aspect to the group's feminism. I mean, that's the whole reason for their fan base. In a way, Ned's infidelity proves that the Try Guys do not necessarily hold the same values that they claim to represent on screen.
Starting off at number 5, we have Mike Myers. Starting off this list, we have a man that some might think is the goofiest person in the world, and who could really blame them after his iconic roles in movies like Austin Powers and Wayne's World. And he is someone that I also mentioned before in my top 10 on meanest celebrities, so you might already know that he's a huge diva with pretty much everyone, with other cast members, crew, and other workers he comes into contact with one rumor even claiming that he got someone fired from a film because they looked at him in the eye. And he even treats people so badly his own cast members have exposed him in the past, with his co-star Amy Hill saying that he had an assistant following him all day, with their job consisting of feeding Myers snacks from a Tupperware container whenever he wanted one. She also characterized Myers as a diva who would micromanage the entire production. The director of one of his most famous films, Wayne's World, even took some digs at him too, saying he is quote emotionally needy and that he got more difficult as the shoot went along, then saying her own daughter was called to set to keep up with all of Myers' demands. And there are also reports that he would cover his trailer or anywhere else he would go with tenting so that no one could see him. And since multiple people have backed up a lot of these stories, or said very similar stories, it's pretty clear that Mike Myers' funny persona is just an act, and he's actually a Scrooge in real life. And I'm pretty sure the person holding the Tupperware for him really did not like working for him. In at number 4, Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo is someone you might not have expected to be on this list, but she's notoriously terrible to work with, and is well known for being a diva. One of the worst rumors about her is that she doesn't allow anyone that's working around her to look her in the eyes. Back in 2012, one report came out that she forced staff that was doing renovations on her house to not look at her or speak to her. J-Lo also got some heat when she was looking for a new personal assistant, and the demands of the job seemed too insane to be true, with her asking for the person to be great under pressure and have thick skin. But the more insane demands were that the person could not be in a relationship and they weren't allowed any vacations, with the employee being on call 24/7 and being expected to work 72 hours per week if needed. Other tasks include changing diapers, working with no sleep, and cooking if her chef was not there, with J-Lo being insanely obsessed with snacking, and it being a requirement that there's always something ready for her if she needs some food at a moment's notice. Well, I'd be out on that one because I can't cook. In at number 3, Lady Gaga. Next up was someone that I was personally really shocked by, and that's Lady Gaga. And she treated her assistant so badly that the assistant decided to get into a legal battle with her. The employee named Jennifer O'Neill sued Gaga in 2012, saying that she owed her $390,000 for the 7,000 hours of overtime that she did, then opening up more about all the insane things she had to do for Gaga in the 13 months that she was working for her, saying she was expected to be on call 24/7, wake her up, and even make sure she had a towel waiting after a shower. Even crazier, O'Neill alleged that she was forced to sleep in the same bed as Gaga because the star didn't like to sleep alone. And in light of all of this, Lady Gaga savagely clapped back to all these claims, portraying her as an ingrate who did the most to take advantage of all the luxuries the job brought her. She also described O'Neill as a disgusting human being who should have been grateful for living a luxury lifestyle that included sleeping in Egyptian cotton sheets every night, in 5-star hotels, on private planes, eating caviar, and using her YSL discount without permission. And this was not even scraping the surface of what Gaga said during her testimony in court. The rest was just as bad, trust me. In at number 2, Christian Bale. Christian Bale's former assistant had such a bad experience working for the star, he actually wrote a book exposing him. The book, called Christian Bale: The Inside Story of the Darkest Batman, was an inside look into all the negative experiences the assistant witnessed while working for him, recalling one story where Bale was approached by a group of young fans, but ended up making the girls run away crying because how mean and rude he was to them, allegedly taking the time to lecture them on why they were being rude by interrupting his dinner. Then an even creepier experience was when Bale was sent a fan letter to his home, and then Bale told the assistant that the fan should be, quote, eliminated, and then even said in a fax later that it was better safe than sorry, adding, quote, a screwdriver thrust through the eyeball into the brain prevents any screaming. Let me know how it goes. Oh god, I really hope that's not true. Then finishing that the assistant was diagnosed with PTSD by his therapist, solely because he worked for Christian Bale. And this isn't too much of a shock for a lot of people, especially because Bale was accused of assaulting his mother and sister at the Dorchester Hotel in London during the Dark Knight press junket in 2008. Then 6 months later, in a video leaked of him swearing and threatening to kick someone's ass after a man accidentally interrupted Bale mid-scene, later blaming the outburst on his character. And finally, number 1, Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen has been getting dragged through the mud recently, because now that her nice and friendly persona is getting put on blast, people are wondering how much of Ellen's image is a lie. And based on the absolutely horrific experiences her employees have come out about, I think it's safe to say that working on the Ellen show isn't really a dream come true. In the beginning of the year, Kevin T. Porter started all this when he came out on Twitter revealing that Ellen was notoriously the meanest person in Hollywood, with other people coming out speaking of their terrible interactions with her. But that's nothing compared to what her own employees had to endure while working on her show. Some employees spoke about the abuse they faced to BuzzFeed, with one person telling the outlet that they checked into a medical facility after making an attempt on their own life. And when they returned to work after working through their demons, the Ellen show told them they were no longer needed, adding more unnecessary pressure onto this person. Then another employee spoke of when she started a GoFundMe to pay her medical bills, and when the show found out, instead of helping her, they forced her to take it down in order to protect Ellen's image. And the last employee I'm going to be speaking about said that she left the show after she was constantly mistreated because of her race, with the woman opening up about the fact that she endured racist comments, actions, and microaggressions while she worked for the show for over a year and a half. with one of the writers even saying to her face that they quote only know the names of the white people who work there. Some people are split whether they think this is Ellen's responsibility or not, and based off of the personal interactions people have had with her, it really seems like she doesn't value a positive environment. And maybe these toxic producers were just going along with the vibe that they felt from her. As if she wanted the show to be fun and a fair place to work, she would have done more about it, right?